Okay, I've been sitting here fiddling around on the YouTube having a little bit of fun. And I've noticed even on YouTube and on Facebook that now all these liberals out here are now saying if they get Trump out, there's going to be violence in America. Oh, it's going to be terrible. Well, guess when the other time they said this was? Can anybody remember back to OJ? The infamous OJ Simpson? Remember what they said, one of the reasons why the jury went and found him innocent? Because they were all afraid of the backlash and the violence that would take place in Los Angeles and all over California and other places if they found the Jews guilty. Anybody remember back that far? Probably not, but if you go, back and look up the OJ trial and look up whatever, you will see that, yeah, they were scared to death. They were going to have riots over the fact that he was found guilty. And that was, one of the things that they feared, that he was going to be found guilty. So now, all of a sudden, the left is now trying to play this card. Oh, it's going to be civil war. It's going to be violence. It's going to be terrible. If we get Trump out of there, the world's going to come to an end. You better be prepared. Da-da-da-da-da. Well, here's my thing for all those people who are saying that, yeah, there's going to be violence if they get Trump out of office. Hell, there was violence when Trump went into office. What are you talking about? All them riots in the streets, all the buildings they burned, all the places they trashed, and now they want to say, oh, well, the right's gonna have riots, and it's gonna be civil war. Well, if there is civil war, I hate it for the people on the left, because the people on the left don't own guns. They don't want to have guns. They don't want to have them. So what are you gonna do? I mean, why talk about it? What? Y'all gonna go all build bunkers and shit and go hide underground? What? What are you gonna do? I mean, you look at your leaders, okay? And here's what I got to say to that. You don't bully somebody and punch them in the mouth and not expect to get hit back. But then again, as their illustrious leader, Obama, put it, well, you did, the victor goes the spoils. We won, you didn't, so stick it. Well, I hate it for you, but, you went out here and you did all this crap, and you only made it worse on yourself. First with the Russian crap, then with the Ukraine crap, and then all this other stuff. Well, the whole thing was, and here's one of the reasons why I say this, Biden cannot run for president if he's under indictment. You can't do that. So the thing is, with all this collusion crap and everything that went on between Biden and Miss State Department Hillary Clinton and all these other places to get his son on the payroll over there, and all this other stuff, this what they call quid pro, whatever the hell you want to say about it, went on. Now they're scared to death that he's going to be under indictment. And guess what? Well, our main man that we already picked, who's going to run for president, guess what? He can't run for president. And the thing is, several people on that stage, about the only one that can is Bernie. And their big fears, well, Bernie's going to run and Bernie's going to get burned again. So they were hoping they could throw enough shit at the wall that they get something to stick so that they could put the man, our president, out of office, and they wouldn't have anybody really to run against, because they'd be like, well, all those people who voted for Trump, they ain't going to want to vote for somebody else, so we'll win. The problem is, I'm sorry, nothing stuck, because it's all been lies, okay? That's the problem. And now, all of a sudden, Biden is in question, because now Biden and Pelosi and the Clintons and all these other people, the red flags are flying and run like hell, because they're coming. And if the Republicans do what they said they were going to do, which I question thoroughly, but if they really do what they said in that press conference, and they do have these investigations, a lot of those people are going to jail for a very long time. And a lot of them will not be able to return and run for office like that felon did, who's now representing the state of Virginia. But hey, what's the point? He may not be able to stay elected anyway. If somebody files on that, he may not be able to stay in office anyhow. But the whole thing is, if you sit back here now and listen to what they're saying, now all of a sudden, the world's going to hell. It's going to hell in a handbasket. Everybody who's a liberal is going to die because it's going to be civil war, and civil war is coming, and all this other stuff. Well, I hate to say this, but the only people who have been violent and show propensity for violence, and the people who have harmed people and whatever else, are on the far left. So now you're trying to scare the far left with the people you scared the far left with, which you scared and had people committing violence on the far left, and by trying to say that the far right, who has not participated, or what you want to call the far right, anybody who has a leaning that isn't so far, you can even have liberals who are considered far right nowadays, considering the fact that, you know, what they consider to be a liberal is. But anybody who's not a liberal is far right. And now all of a sudden, they're all going to become violent. They're going to rise up, and there's going to be total hell and violence going on. Which reminds me of the OJ Simpson case. Because that was their big fear, that in LA and all these other places, if the man was found guilty, that they were all the blacks were going to rise up and go crazy and riot and loot. They were afraid of another Watts. That was what they were afraid of. They're afraid of another Watts riots. But they were afraid it was going to take place in Chicago and Baltimore and other big cities, was what they were afraid of if OJ was found guilty. So now the left's trying to play the OJ card, as I call it now, the OJ card, by saying that the right is going to rise up. And they're going to now become violent and do all these things to people. And I've seen this, I have actually seen posts about this on other websites, okay? And I actually, believe it or not, on a state email server, I actually got a post from, I can't say from who, okay, and I can't say from exactly which department, but the fear of them, you know, coming to work and being armed, allowed them to be armed because they had fear that somebody was going to harm them at work. Yeah, and I'm like, you can carry a gun anywhere you want to, as long as it's not concealed on state property in the state of North Carolina, as long as it's not within certain restricted zones. I can carry one to work, folks, and carry it all I want. The only signs we have posted at work is no concealed weapons. So if you're a man, you know, state North Carolina, if you want to, go get your license. You may not be able to conceal carry it, you'll have to carry it openly, but hey, at least you'll have it. But see, then, this is the same thing. All these people who were against firearms, oh, well, nobody needs a weapon, nobody needs a weapon, are the same people now saying they're going to go get their license to go carry a weapon. Imagine that. It gets funnier by the damn minute. But anyway, I just find it absolutely hilarious now that the same people who were violent, have been violent, are now fearful of violence, and are now who are all about gun control and thou shalt not carry weapons, are now talking about they're going to go buy weapons and get licensed to carry them. Isn't that just a freaking laugh? So anyway, it's just food for thought. It just crossed my mind. Later, y'all.